You think that he's a top 3 quarterback following this season?
I absolutely do believe that Justin Herbert's going to be a top 3 quarterback by the time this season ends. And here's why. We talk about his arm talent. There's no questions about that. But he has the coach to get him there. So Brandon Staley, he's the new head coach of the LA Chargers. Brandon Staley just coached the #1 defense we saw we do it in LA last year with the LA Rams. He coached me in Chicago, #1 defense 2018. But Brandon Staley is a former quarterback. Brandon Staley coaches defenses from a quarterback's perspective. So Brandon Staley is in Justin Herbert's ear, teaching him everything he needs to know to be the best quarterback in the game. He's got the arm talent, but we always know it's not just about the arm talent. It's about the coaching. It's about the culture. It's about the fit. It's about the match. And let's not say that the LA Chargers don't have the team in place to do it. You've got Keenan Allen, who's one of the best receivers in the game. You've got a defense. No one's talking about Derwin James. No one's talking about Kenneth Murray at linebacker. No one's talking about Joey Bosa at defensive line. So they've got the defense to challenge Kansas City. They've got the team, and they've got the coach. I think Justin Herbert will hands down be a top 3 quarterback by the time this season ends.
This is how I would put it. First of all, I disagree. I don't think he'll be top 3, and I thought I was Justin Herbert's biggest fan. By the way, he will be on the Max Kellerman Show on ESPN Radio, 2 p.m. Eastern is when the show starts on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80, the ESPN app. You can download the podcast.
Let him know I think higher of him than you do, because apparently he's a quarterback.
This is what I said. I thought people would accuse me of being hyperbolic when he was ranked 9th in Madden, and I said I actually think by the end of the season there's a chance he might be top 5. Here's the problem with putting him top 3. I presume it's Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. Those are the 2 immovable objects in the top 3. Sam, am I right? I want to see Sam because I want to make sure that I'm right about this.
Look at me. You're absolutely right about that.
Okay, those two, and then there's no one else that special, and so you're putting him there. The problem is Tom Brady just had a tremendous year and won the Super Bowl. He didn't just make a deep run. Well, his team was loaded, but he did win the freaking Super Bowl and did face Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes on the way, right? So it's hard for me to leave Brady out of the top 3 until proven otherwise. Russell Wilson, not last year, but over the last 5 or 6 years, if you said who's been the best player overall in football over the last half dozen years, probably Russell Wilson. Tough to replace him. Beyond that, I would say this. I get it. I'd phrase it like this. Justin Herbert has more trade value maybe than anyone in football because Mahomes got $500 million coming, right? Justin Herbert's on his rookie deal 1 year in. If Trevor Lawrence pans out this year, he'll be where Justin Herbert is now. Joe Burrow hasn't proven it yet. Trevor Lawrence hasn't proven it yet. Honestly, as good as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are, I don't think they're as talented as Justin Herbert. So I think his trade value is enormous, and he has a chance to join Mahomes and Rodgers in that top 3 eventually. I don't think it's going to be this season, but I do think top 5 is certainly possible.
And Max, but I hear you. But the only point that you really made, the only other person you could put in there is the GOAT, Tom Brady, which I believe, yes, he just won a Super Bowl. Like, he's a baller. We can't argue against Tom Brady. But what we can say is that the LA Chargers have gotten better at every position. They went and drafted Rashawn Slater to protect his blind side. We all saw Joe Burrow get injured because he had no protection. So they've gotten better on the offensive line. They've gotten better from a coaching perspective. They've gotten better from a defensive perspective. And yes, Russell Wilson over the last 6, 8, 10 years, you could say he's been one of the top players. But we're not talking about the past. We're not talking about the rear view. We're not talking about what happened in 2016 and 17. I'm talking about right now, Max. Right now.
First half
not a long time
ago.
And right now, Justin Herbert looks as good as anybody in the league. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is number 1. Aaron Rodgers had an MVP season, 48 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns.
And he was competing with those guys right out the gate. He was competing with Mahomes early in the season.
As a rookie quarterback without a coach. Now you've got a brilliant offense. So Brandon Staley has a photographic memory. This dude coached me back in Chicago. You have a brilliant
How many wins for the Chargers?
Mind.
Charlie's trying to get in here. How many wins for the Chargers? Quick.
They're winning. I think they get 10. I think they're 10-7, maybe 11-6. Yes. I'll give them 11-6.
And if we're staying in the right now, look, Justin Herbert, he only needs 29 passing touchdowns this season to become one of 2 players in NFL history, along with Dan Marino, to have 60-plus touchdowns in the first 2 seasons of their career.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.